What is up? Cecil Smith here with the Asics NovaBlast and my first impressions after a couple of runs, about 8 miles worth of running in the shoe. I did do a track workout in the shoe as well. And my first impression is this shoe is different. It is built different. Uh, when you first look at it, and when my son first looked at it, he's like, yeah, it kind of looks like a Hoka because of the high stack height. But that's about where the similarities end, especially for me, because the shoe does not feel like a Hoka. Hoka has like kind of the soft foam. This foam is much harder, and this shoe is supposed to be a neutral shoe, but it is very stiff, very stiff. I think there's a little bit of flex back and forth here, but overall the shoe is very firm, feels very firm underfoot, and it doesn't give a lot of good ground contact feel. So you're very insulated from the ground. Some of the other shoes I have, you can feel like the cracks in the pavement, cracks in the sidewalk. This shoe keeps you insulated from that, so you don't get a lot of good ground contact feel. The other thing I've noticed about the shoe is when they were talking about stability. At first, I thought I had the Nike Zoom X2s, and that was the most unstable shoe that I've had. It was unstable from the standpoint of just standing in the shoe, and that's because it had an airbag underneath, and then it had like the Zoom X foam that just ran right down the middle of the shoe. Well, I say foam. It wasn't even foam. It was like little arches of the Zoom X stuff, and they would compress and expand as you hit right in the middle of your foot. But that air pad was on the outsides, and it was just one pad. So if you lean to the inside, it would just compress completely. All the air would go to the other side, and the same thing if you went to the outside. So if you were just standing in the shoe, in the heel part of the shoe, it would bend and flex. And once you got running, and I'm a bit of a midsole striker, midfoot striker, that problem kind of went away. Once you were running, you were fine. It was just standing, walking, it was really unstable. And I thought this shoe was going to be unstable that way. It's not that way. It's unstable in the front of the foot, which is where I hit when I run. And I didn't notice it at first because I'm just walking. I was like, this shoe isn't unstable at all. You know, maybe other people had an issue with it when they ran something specifically. But for me, I noticed it. I started off going downhill, no issues, straight line, it was fine. I started to go up a sidewalk on the other side, and the sidewalk had a little bit of a defect in it, and it almost turned my foot over. And I couldn't figure it out at first, but I looked at the shoe later when I was running, and if you look where your toe sets, where the inside of your foot is right over the edge of the shoe on the instep. And if it gets off balance a little bit, it seems to want to roll you in. And I could feel it in my leg and the inside of my calf just from where it was having to work extra hard to keep the ankle from pronating in and over pronating to the inside. So I think I don't want to say it's a difficult shoe, but if you're a novice, if you're new to running, I can see where you could have some issues if you just go out and try to run in this shoe. It does have a high stack height, and it does feel like you're just on top of the foam. You're not really buried down deep in the foam. And I looked at some other Asics. My son has the Gel Nimbus 2 lights, and it has a very wide base in the front. This shoe is much narrower in the front, and I think that also leads to some stability issues. I'll try to get these up here in like a little side by side. These are both 10.5s, so there's nothing crazy with the size of the shoe, but you can see like towards the front, there's a lot more material, rubber, where the shoes are. It's easier if I line up the inside of the shoe where you can see this extra material on the outside, and that gives you a little bit better base. Also, the way this shoe is constructed, it's got more of that midsole outsole to the inside, so that you're not going to roll. It's more stable. To me, that's where the issue of this shoe is. I also noticed on the balls of my feet towards the front, it seemed very stiff, very firm in that part. talking about like the energy return of the shoe, it seemed to be pretty good. The shoe wants to go faster for me. I've been running in the Hoka Clifton 6, so that shoe is a daily trainer recovery type shoe, soft foam with the harder foam and the harder overall construction of the shoe. It gives a little bit better energy return, but it does better at the lower uh, rates, like lower mileage times. So 8 minutes per mile is fast for me, and this shoe really kind of picked up uh, when I wanted to go that fast. I think there's a sweet spot for it, where if you can get your cadence down faster, the more you can make this foam hit the ground, the more it'll push you along. So I think you want to be kind of quick with your feet, but also it's, I don't want to say very technical, but you really have to watch where you're going in case there is some uneven concrete or uneven pavement that may throw you off, especially to the inside. Outside, not that big of an issue. I don't think you're going to roll outwards. It's everything to the inside. So maybe if you're just conscious of that, and I'll see when I go out for some more runs. My intent is to run the August 5K in these. We'll see how that goes, and maybe when I get to 50 miles, I'll give a more in-depth review. But I definitely see the stability issues that people were talking about, but it wasn't where I thought it was going to be in the back. It was in the forefront, in the front of the shoe, and on the inside. And it really did catch me off guard because I was like, oh no, this shoe's stable, it's fine, because I didn't feel it when I was just standing there walking. And I thought that's what the stability issue was going to be, and it's not. The other thing, the tongue is not gusseted, and this is, I don't know if it's the first one I've had in a while. It hasn't had a gusseted tongue where it's kind of free to move. First run, it did move a little bit. Second run, locked it down a little bit better. Wasn't an issue, but it does stick up more than the back. I thought there may be an issue with the back where it would hit my heel. Actually, wasn't an issue. It hits a little bit lower than what I thought it was going to. So the issue is going to be where the tongue hits. The tongue's actually a little bit longer. It's not super stiff. It's a softer material, but I could see where maybe it may rub if you don't have the longer socks. So we'll see about that as well as we go on. And other than that, I think the outsoles still look pretty good. I think they're going to hold up. It's got some good Asics high abrasion rubber on the outsole. So I'm still going to try to run these. I'm going to try to get like a good run in. My legs were a little bit sore when I went for the first run, but I was like, oh, new shoes, I want to try them. So we'll see how it feels going on a good run. I kind of know what to expect a little bit now with the instability, where it's going to come from, where it's going to hit, and especially if you're going down a slope that's kind of slanted a little bit, you feel your foot wanting to roll in all the time, every step. So that's another precaution if you're running on flat, uphill, downhill. It's the same, but if the grade is slanted and you're trying to run along, the shoe may cause some issues. But looking forward to getting some more miles in them, and I'll let you guys know how that goes. One other thing I will talk about, the discount. I did get a discount on these shoes. If you are running, if you're walking, if you're doing anything active, get an app to keep track of it. If you want to carry your phone with you, even if it's something that you want to put in manually later, just do that, because I did get a 20% discount on the shoes, amount of over $20 off of the shoe just by running a virtual 5K, which was also free in the Asics Runkeeper app. So if you're doing anything, just keep track of it, because a lot of these apps will give you money and discounts or coupons, different things just for using them that you can use on real life items, and you can save yourself some money. I like trying new shoes, seeing what's out there, and I'm not going to say I would definitely get a pair of these yet. If you're looking to get into it, if you haven't run a whole lot before, I would maybe steer clear of these, honestly, just because some of the difficulties, I could see people maybe not wanting to stick with it because of them, and that's after just 2 runs. Like, it's it requires attention and focus from what I've seen when you're running in them. It's not just put them on and go run. And I've seen where some people said they could use them for recovery for like a daily trainer. Even though it has a lot of foam, it's this FF Blast foam, the Flight Foam Blast. It's pretty stiff. It's not the soft Hoka foam that I would say is probably better for like those long recovery type runs. You could maybe run long distance in this shoe. We'll see. Just my first impression of it is that's not what this shoe's for. It's to go a little bit quicker. Like I said, it's stiff. It's got a good energy return. It's maybe a daily trainer that wants to go fast. I had a hard time kind of reining it in. Every time I would just start to kind of like settle in, it felt like I was going faster. Heart rate was still up a little bit though. So to me, energy return in the shoe, if it's doing its job, it should be making the run easier, or you should be able to run a faster time at the same effort level. And it felt like I was putting effort in to get the speed out of the shoe. So like I said, I think there's a sweet spot in the shoe where you're getting your cadence down and you got your stride down. So it's going to take some time to find. I don't think the shoe has a break-in period, but I think it does have a period of break-in for your legs getting used to the shoe, because the construction's different. It's different from other Asics, from other running shoes in general. So that's where the break-in period is going to be. I think the shoe comes out of the box fine to run in. Just it does feel different underfoot, and it does feel different on the legs. So anxious to get some more miles in these, and right now I wouldn't rule out going to the NovaBlast 2, because I think they solved some issues with this shoe from what I've heard, what I've read, watched, and it does have some issues. But I think Asics turned everything up to 11 when they tried. It's like, let's put some more foam in here. Let's put the stiff foam in. Let's, try to make it a fast-ish daily trainer. And I think they did a good job. I think they did an excellent job on that. But with the limited amount of miles I put in the shoe so far, it's too hard for me to rate, to say it's an 8 or 9 out of 10 or anything like that. But it's a nice looking shoe. I like the look of the shoe. I do like the feel of the shoe, especially just walking around. It's a fine shoe, but it's not one you're going to get and wear down and then just go mow grass in or do something else. And if you're doing cross training or something else in it, I would definitely want to be on a flat surface with a high stack height. If you're doing anything back and forth, side to side, I would be careful, because I would think you would roll an ankle or something in these. But for running, they're perfectly fine, as long as it's flat or you're paying attention to what you're doing. All right, well, be careful out there and be safe.